Dr. Cornel West went on Real Time with Bill Maher, and he did a great takedown of Paul Krugman, who wrote an article slamming him for being too hard on Obama.
About Obama, which you said he posed as a progressive and turned out to be counterfeit.
Absolutely.
And here is Krugman's.
Absolutely.
He said, well, you know, health care, we didn't get everything we wanted, but there's more cost containment than even the supporters thought.
That's a positive thing.
He said financial reform, didn't get everything we wanted.
Weak.
But Dodd-Frank is real, he said.
Weak.
Okay.
Weak, brother.
Okay, we have Elizabeth Warren's financial consumer.
Yes, but it's not independent or autonomous.
Income inequality, still bad.
Out of control.
But Obamacare.
Out of control.
But Obamacare goes mostly to the people who don't have a lot of money. It is income redistribution. The thing that conservatives hate about it, he actually did.
It was a conservative policy out of Heritage Foundation,
yes,
but it is positive. I agree with his
He also mentions that the stimulus worked. We didn't have a depression like Europe did.
But massive unemployment. Most of the jobs are low wage.
But the point is that politics is the...
Let's be honest.
Politics is the art of the possible. Let me read his quote. He said, it seems to rest on the belief, you're saying, he said, seems to rest on the belief that if only Obama had put his eloquence behind a radical economic agenda, he could somehow have gotten that agenda past all the political barriers.
That's where he's wrong.
That have constrained even his much more modest efforts.
Wrong, Brother Bill. Obama chose Geithner and Summers out of Wall Street. He chose the drones to drop bombs on innocent people. He chose national surveillance that's going to push Brother James Rice into jail. That's choices he makes.
Boom. So overall, I do think they're both right in a sense. And when I say that, I mean Paul Krugman, Bill Maher, and Cornel West. But Cornel West is definitely more right, in my opinion. So what you should give President Obama for is Obamacare. Now, I preferred Medicare for All system. I know Cornel West did as well. And I even think Bill Maher does, and maybe even Paul Krugman does. So we all preferred that, but we ended up with the compromise. It was a very watered-down compromise with Obamacare. Like Dr. Cornel West says, it's a Heritage Foundation policy. Actually, Nixon proposed it when he was president. Bob Dole also proposed something very similar in 1996. Newt Gingrich, Chuck Grassley, these guys supported it in the 90s. So it is a fairly right-wing idea, but it's still a step in the right direction, and it's still better than nothing. So I do give Obama credit for Obamacare, even though it's not what I wanted. I would have liked more a public option, and the ideal would have been a Medicare for all system. But he still gets credit. And Cornel West even says at one point, he's like, okay, no, it's a step in the right direction. I'll give credit for that. And the other thing that Obama deserves credit for is the stimulus and for preventing the economy from likely going into deeper recession or possibly a depression. So he does get credit for those two things for sure. And I do believe that assuming everything stays relatively the same, which is a big assumption, but assuming that happens, history will be fairly kind to him in that respect. So they'll talk about Obamacare from the perspective of, wow, that's amazing. He got healthcare reform. No other president could. They'll talk about the stimulus and the economy as, well, he inherited like 10% unemployment. Now it's about 5.9%. So it will be viewed positively. So in that respect, I may be a little easier on Obama than Dr. Cornel West, but still very similar to him. But the areas where Cornel West is, in my opinion, 100% correct, and where Krugman and sometimes Maher over-defend Obama are the things that he listed off at the end there. Drones, foreign policy, Afghanistan, the NSA. When it comes to income inequality, yes, it's true that the economy is not in depression right now and unemployment is lower, but income inequality is continuing to rise, and higher-paying jobs have been replaced by lower-paying jobs. All of the job creation has been in the low-wage sectors. So all of those things paint the reality more than other misleading and cherry-picked facts that might be in favor of President Obama. When you look at the totality of his presidency, he's more of a center-right kind of president. He's more of a corporatist, pro-Washington, pro-establishment, Bill Clinton-style Democrat. I mean, for the NSA, he's actually been worse than Bush. He took the programs and put them on steroids, and history, if they're judging that accurately, will view that as a very, very bad thing. Afghanistan, again, if history is viewing it objectively and accurately, they'll say, well, Obama actually increased troop levels. As soon as he came in, he increased troop levels, and now we've withdrawn from Afghanistan, and we still have about 10,000 troops there. That's withdrawing? Not by any definition I know. And drones, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, all these places now, Syria too, Iraq as well, all these places where we're doing drone strikes, we've killed so many innocent civilians, and we have further radicalized the region as a result of it. And even Guantanamo, now there's a chance that Obama might actually shut Guantanamo before he leaves office, and I hope that he does, but it's already fair to criticize him on that issue because he could have vetoed the NDAA, which authorized funding for Guantanamo, and he didn't. He threatened to do it. He said, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down, but he didn't end up vetoing it, so he actually approved the funding to continue Guantanamo. Now, he has transferred more and more people out of there, and there are signs that he might shut it down before he leaves office and go against the majority will of his party and even the majority will of the American people, but we don't know. We don't know yet if he's going to do that. So the reality of President Obama's time in office so far, it's a very mixed picture. It's a very complex picture. It's a very nuanced picture. But in my opinion, out of those three people, so Bill Maher, Paul Krugman, and Cornel West, who is the closest to correct? Got to be Cornel West.